I think that's where we're supposed to go. Vienna's Habsburg dynasty lasted for a long time, literally centuries. The result of that is there are literally castles all over the place in Vienna. The German word for palace is Schloss, and I saw so many of them in Austria, I lost count. But in Vienna, there are 3 major castles that if you're in Vienna, you will want to see, and the last one has the treasury, so you'll definitely want to see that one. So come along as we literally explore the 3 gems of Vienna. First up, we have the magnificent Schonbrun Palace. To get there, we took the train to the outskirts of the city. The train is convenient because it is included on the all-day pass and it literally stops across the street from the Schonbrun Palace. It's like a big hotel from the outside. This is what it looks like. Maybe in the inside it'll look different. So far it looks like some kind of big resort with lots of fancy rooms. Over here we have some lions coming into this big old entryway with some eagles on top. I'm gonna go with, we have found the front door. Oh, look, there's a statue over there. I don't know if you can see it. It's like half, it's like a sphinx, half lady and half lion over there. That's pretty crazy looking. It's like the park opens at 6:30 and it closes at 7. And we're coming in the gates here. It's pretty big. Oh, and there's the ticket center. I think we gotta go over there. That's pretty big. And here's the Easter market that's not open yet. It'll probably open later. This castle is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a true marvel of Baroque architecture, with stunning gardens that will take your breath away. It's a little bit windy today, so we decided instead of walking through the gardens, we're gonna take a horse through the gardens. And the horses got their blankets on, and they're ready to go as well. They don't want to stick around here. Plus, if they walk, they'll heat up a little bit. The Schonbrun Palace started off as a hunting ground in 1569 by the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian II. Basically, he bought the land to use as kind of like a real-life duck hunt. He put up a fence and stocked it with ducks, pheasants, and boars, and went around shooting them. When Empress Maria Theresa came to power in 1740, she wanted a summer palace to hang out in. But the idea of hunting fenced animals literally bored her. So she majorly refitted the castle and its ground. Mostly what you see today in the Schonbrun Palace is because of what Maria Theresa built. My favorite area of the castle was the mirrored ballroom. If you look up in the ballroom, you will see these beautiful fresco murals on the ceiling. And in the middle of the ceiling is Maria Theresa watching over all of it. The other kind of famous emperor to have lived in the Schonbrun Palace was Emperor Franz Joseph, who was the last emperor of any importance in Austria. It can be argued that his wife, who was also his first cousin, was more famous. Empress Elizabeth was better known as Sissy, and she was known for her beauty. People literally used her as a standard of what they considered the perfect woman at the time. That, of course, made her a bit eccentric. We just got out of the palace tour, and it was amazing. Got some cool stuff to see. And now we're in the Easter market, and we're going to see what's in the Easter market here. All the handcrafts here, so that should be interesting. Lots of little things to see. There's lots of bunnies. Here's some grilling. All the Michael toys.
You're gonna walk in the face bag.
Those are some big pretzels. Go sit in an egg. Go sit in an egg. That's what they told us to do. Go. with the big pretzel.
Gonna take a bite?
How is it?
Cheesy bread.
Okay, cheesy bread. Next, we have the enchanting Belvedere Palace. The Belvedere Castle, and we're gonna go check out some famous Klimt pictures, so come along for that part. This palace was built for a prince named Eugene of Savoy, who was a pretty important guy because he defended Austria against the Ottomans. Eventually the prince died and Empress Maria Theresa got the palace, but she already had the Schonbrun palace, so she made this into a giant art gallery. This complex of two Baroque palaces houses an impressive collection of art, including Gustav Klimt's famous painting, The Kiss. Up for another selfie? Sphinx. There's Sphinx. The beauty of the Belvedere is that it mixes art with architecture in a beautiful, harmonizing way. Like this chair is like, oh no! If you ever find yourself in Europe, it's always important to look at the beautiful art on the walls. But remember, it's also equally important to look at the ceilings as well. Although no one can argue that Gustav Klimt is an important painter, I think I've seen this painting of Napoleon on this horse on more textbooks than I've ever seen the Kiss painting. This last art installation was kind of interesting to me. It was a guy studying facial expressions. I'm pretty sure the last guy in this set was experiencing constipation, but I'll let you be the judge on that one. The last thing I'll say about the Belvedere is also make sure you look out the window. I mean, check out this garden view. In about the year 90, the Romans established an outpost named Vindobona, which is today Vienna. And today, the historic Hoffburg Palace is literally built on top of those ruins. The Hoffburg Palace has been the residence of the Habsburg dynasty for centuries. Today, it is the residence of the President of Austria, which is kind of interesting because the real leader of Austria is the Prime Minister. The Hoffburg Palace is a huge place, basically a complex with various distinct museums. You can explore the Imperial Apartments, the Spanish Riding School, go check out the famous Viennese Youth Choir, or do what we did and go to the Museum of Ethnology and the Treasury. The inside of the Museum of Ethnology is made with beautiful marble staircases. The museum is massive, and it's kind of easy to get lost inside. Part of the permanent collection houses a massive collection of medieval armor. It's basically the collection of hundreds of years worth of wars. It is interesting in that you can see there was literally any type of armor that you could think of. Oh wait, I think I can actually fit into that one. Not surprisingly, I found this huge painting of Napoleon as emperor. But that isn't too surprising since he was married to a Habsburg. As with all palaces, always make sure you look up every once in a while. This section housed almost any instrument you could think of. If you had the audio guide, it was worth it here because you could hear how the instruments sounded. I was fascinated by this water wheel. Basically, it's a piano, but you play it with glass bowls and water. Some of the instruments they even let you play. This is a harpsichord, which is basically a really old piano. The World Civilizations section has a lot of interesting artifacts, but this is where the history gets a little dark. For example, this is an original Aztec jaguar feather shield, and this is probably Moctezuma's headdress. This headdress has over 100 pieces of gold inlaid into 500 male Quetzal feathers. The Quetzal bird was considered a messenger to the heavens, and the male Quetzal bird at most only has 2 of these long feathers, and this thing has 500 of them. The work that had to go into this piece is hard to imagine, not to mention there is nothing like this headdress anywhere else in the world. These 2 pieces are the only original Aztec feather items left. The problem is, these items don't belong to Austria. They belong in Mexico. The way Austria got these items is a bit dubious, but there is no doubt Mexico wants this headdress back in Mexico. Austria claims it can't send it because it's too fragile, but there is serious doubt to that claim. So this brings up the question of colonialism. Austria back in the day was one of those countries who were sending people to different countries and they brought stuff back. But as well as it is displayed and preserved as some of these items were, I couldn't help to think that they needed to go back to where they came from. After visiting the Museum of Ethnology, we walked over to the treasury. The treasury is where the imperial crown of Austria is housed. The treasury gives you an idea of what it was like to see a monarch in full attire. This green robe was very interesting to me. It was to celebrate that brief time when Austria temporarily had control of what is now Venice. Eventually, the Habsburg lost control of Venice, and they had to return the crown, but they still kept the robe. This is Marie Louise, Duchess of Parma. She was the second wife of Napoleon Bonaparte. More importantly, she had Napoleon's first son, and for that occasion she had this royal crib made to show off her son. Well, we all know what happened to Napoleon, and now this impressive crib is stashed away and deep in the treasury. This is the royal insignia and scepter of Maximilian I of Mexico. Mexico shot Maximilian and destroyed his crown. But why they gave this to Austria is beyond me. It's made of Mexican gold. They probably thought it would get them Moctezuma's headdress, but it didn't. Check out this aquamarine jewel with 20 angle cut. This cut is designed so it'll sparkle anytime you move your view. This is kind of funny. The Habsburgs thought they were getting a magical unicorn horn, but it's actually a narwhal whale horn. The Habsburgs were really into collecting holy items. This is supposed to be a thorn from Jesus' crown of thorns, and these are supposed to be pieces of Jesus' cross. I have to say I'm skeptical after they bought that unicorn horn, but it is interesting. The greatest treasure of Vienna is probably the crown of the Holy Roman Empire. The crown was created around the year 800 by Charlemagne and represents over 1,000 years of European history. Well, there you have it. The 3 most important palaces of Vienna. Which one was your favorite? Whether you're a history buff, an art lover, or simply looking for a magical experience, Vienna's top castles have something for everyone. So pack your bags and get ready to explore these hidden gems today. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more travel guides and tips. See you next time.